Today, we're going to talk about what a real friendship looks like and how you become the kind of friend you and I need to be, and how to know you are being a good friend, and signs when you are breaking that friendship code. Hey, my Momafeyht family, come on in. Your journey has brought you here. Take a seat and relax, because the next couple of minutes will change your life. Let me introduce myself to some. I am Momafeyht, and I am on a mission to elevate women who are becoming women, and the few men who are growing into themselves in real time. Women who hold families, careers, and relationships together. I bring lived experience as a wife, a mom, a nurse, a leader, a coach, and a woman who has walked in many seasons in my life. This week, as I said, we are talking about becoming a real friend, because not all friends are real friends. So becoming a real friend starts right here. And first, we're going to talk about the types of friendship relationships that there are, and see if you can identify what type of friend each one of your friends are in your life. The first one is the seasonal friendship. This is the kind of friendship that is strong and personal, but it is during a specific time in your life. You may not talk often, but there is still respect when you do come together. Then there is the convenience friendship. This is the type of friendship when you mainly connect because of shared experience. Maybe you work together with coworkers. Maybe you all met at the gym and you tend to meet at the gym at the same time on the same days and you become friends. Or maybe because your kids do some type of sports or they're in some type of activity together. So you all are friends when you meet with each other and you share and you become close. But a lot of times the conversations tend to stay surface level. Sometimes you can get into some deep conversations, depend on the friendship. But when the situation changes, and this is key, the connection fades and you are no longer in touch with each other. If you are aware, you may try and make this a long-term relationship, but it was only for convenience and it was only for the period of time when you had a shared experience. Then there's the long distance but strong relationship. And this is even with time and space, the connection always remains strong. You can pick up right where you left off the last time you spoke with this person. And the key thing here is it is no tension, it is easy, and you both feel connected. And effort is made on both parts to stay connected. And this type of friendship relationship has trust and care, and it remains consistent. Then there is the one-sided friendship. This is the type of relationship when you are always the one reaching out first. You give more energy, time, and support than you receive. The other person, they are available when they need something, but they have so many excuses when you do. And you often feel drained and overlooked and constantly chasing them. And then there is the loyal friendship. These are the friends that they stand by you both in good times and hard times. They defend you when you are not in the room. Trust is a strong and is built really over time. And you feel secure in this relationship and you always know where you stand with them. And then we also have the transitional or the transactional relationship. This is the type of relationship that is based on what each person get out of the relationship. The support feels like it's conditional. It goes something like this. I go to your event and then you come to mine. I get you something, you get me something back. There is an unspoken expectation, but it's always dealing around some type of exchange only. And when either one stops the giving, this is key, the relationship ends. And then there is the supportive friendship. This is the type of friend that you feel safe with, sharing your thoughts and your innermost feelings. They listen without judgment and they show up when it is matters. There is mutual support. It's not one-sided giving. And you both celebrate each other's wins without competition. Now, here is something that I want you to sit with in this moment. I want you to know that a real friend is not the loudest person in your life. It is the safest place in your life. And a real friend does not compete with your growth. They protect your peace while you grow. But you and I must become the friend that our friend needs too. So becoming a friend actually require you to pay attention to the relationship. And here's my story. And I want you to see if you can recognize what type of friendship relationship this was. This particular friendship relationship, we were all about 4 of us that were co-workers. And for some reason, we all worked of course, at the same place. But we didn't all work in the same area. But somehow we all met each other at different stages and we all became friends. The relationship was centered around the workplace. And if, of course, but if one person needed a ride to work or back home from work, we would often pick each other up and drop each other off. We talked every day that we worked. We often did lunch and breaks together. And one of the ladies in the group, but what happened is we had I would say a conversation one day. And this conversation went like this. It was 3 of us who were at lunch that day, and one of the friends wasn't there. And this particular friend that was not there had bought one of the latest top of the line cars, one of those expensive cars. And this particular car had all of the gadgets, every gadget you can imagine it had. It had the leather seats, it had the sun-top roof, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful car, and it was pricey. And so this particular day, we are eating at lunch, and you ever been in a conversation that you sort of, right away when someone bring up something that, this is probably not the right time, and this is probably not good because that person is not there. Well, this was that type of situation that day. So one of the friends, and this particular person, if you got to know her, she was not a person who was vindictive. She wasn't a person that was jealous of other people. She didn't have that. She didn't give off those vibes. But she brought up this one particular friend who was not there about her car. And she was saying in a very excited way that, did you see this person's car? That car is bad. I mean, that car is bad. And she went on to describe and was saying, and she was so excited about it. And of course, you're at lunch. You can't just get up. And I wish sometimes in those moments, if we had the tools of how to navigate those type of situations when somebody is not present and the conversation is about them. And I too look for some solution as to how do you get out of those type of situations, because you know deep down in your heart somebody is going back to tell that to the person. And and a lot of times when you really value that friendship, you really don't want to be one of the people that make that person feel like they can't trust you because you were there at the time. You don't even have to say anything, but the fact that you were there, and of course, they're going to name your names. They're going to tell names of who all was there. And so, of course, this got back to the person. It wasn't from one of the three, thank God. It was someone else. But that particular friend came and stopped me one day while we was at work. It was on another day. And they said, you know what? I want to ask you something. Pull me off into the room. And you're like, oh God. I didn't know it was about this, but when anybody pull you off to the side, you know that it's something. And the person pulled me off to the side, and they said, I heard that you all was at lunch one day, and you all were talking about my car, and that this particular, and they named the person who had said, and they had said something about the car, and I wanted to hear from you because I, trust you that you would tell me the truth, and, was this person really talking about my car? So I told her, I said, yes, they did mention your car. I said, but the way that they mentioned it was they was excited. They were saying how bad it was and how it was just a nice car and how it just looked so good. And the person, said, oh, thank you. She said, I really appreciate you letting me know. She said, because I was feeling confused because but I said to myself, before I get upset, let me ask someone that I trust, was this really true? And she said, I'm so glad that I talked to you. And what it made me to understand is that taught me a lesson that day, that a lot of times when we hear people come back to us about things that were said about us and we were not there, that we need to make sure that we go and get all of the facts. Don't just assume that that person is telling the story the way that it really went. Always try to get the fact. And hopefully she went to the other people, and hopefully she went to the other person as well, to try to collect as much facts before you make a decision to, to sever a friendship relationship. And needless to say, we all remained that friendship. But once we all left that particular workplace at different times, but amazing looking back now, none of us kept in close relationship once we all left that workplace. And even one by one, we never really reached out to each other for anything or to even say hi. So I want you to guess, or were you able to guess which relationship this group of friends had? And if you said the convenience friendship, you got it. Because once we left that workplace, we never connected again. It was a friendship of convenience. And even though we shared some of our most deepest secrets and, things that happened in our lives, but once that connection was gone, we all went our separate ways. So how do you build a real friendship that is mutually supportive? And I'll say it right off the bat. First, you need to know what type of friendship before you even try to build a friendship. Because if it was a convenient friendship, many times once that relationship or that convenience is no longer there, that connection is not going to be there. And sometimes some people crave and want that connection to stay. And a lot of times that was not what that friendship was. It was just a convenience friendship for one or two or more of those people. But I am glad you asked. So the first, we have to be consistent. We have to show up regularly, not just when it is convenient. Second, We have to practice actively listening to our friends. Let's pay attention. Let's respond thoughtfully. And one key thing of being a friend is remembering the details. It's nothing like being in a relationship with someone and they can't remember the things that you like, the things that you don't like. That's a real kind of clear sign that you're not building a friendship. And you might want to go back and reevaluate what type of friendship that this really is. Because it can be a friendship. It just may not be the type of friendship that you want to build as a supportive friendship. And then third, we want to communicate openly. Say what you mean without being harsh and dismissive. And then fourth, respect each other's differences, because just because you're friends doesn't mean that you're always alike on everything. There may be things that you all are so alike and that's what drew you together, but you also have to respect when they have differences from you and honor those differences. You do not have to agree on everything to stay connected. Just you are connected over the things that you all have in common. And then fifth, give and receive report, because of the type of friendship that you want to build on, you want to be giving and you want to be receiving. You allow yourself to be help and not just the helper. And you also help your friend and not always be the one that need help. And then six, set healthy expectations. Be very clear about what you can and cannot give. Because remember, every friendship is not going to be the same. And then celebrate your wins and each other's wins. Support each other without competition and without comparison. Because your friend may be up today, but you may be up tomorrow. Your friend may be winning today and you may be winning tomorrow. So you learn how to celebrate each other's wins, and you learn how to be encouraged when one does have something that happens that is really great in their lives, because that's an encouragement. It should be that you can have not just that, but the things that you want to have in your life to happen. And most importantly, check in during the hard times, because real friends show up when life is not easy. So, now that we know how to become and build a great relationship, let's talk about how to know when you are being a good friend. And it kind of goes along with what we just said. Are you listening without interrupting, or do you make everything to come back and center right about yourself? Do you keep your word and follow through on what you say? Do you respect your friends' boundaries without making them feel guilty or without applying pressure because you don't agree? Or are you honest with your friend but still being kind even when the conversation gets difficult? And do you compete or compare yourself to them, or do you secretly resent their growth? Or do you protect their privacy and do not share their personal information, even if the relationship doesn't survive? And that is very key to being a real friend. And do you take accountability when you make a mistake, meaning you know how to come back and apologize when you make a mistake? Because being a friend is not being a perfect friend. Being a friend is when you do make a mistake or you do feel like you've hurt that person feeling, being able to come back and to acknowledge that, I know the other day when we had that conversation, I feel like I may have hurt your feelings, and I wanted to make sure that I make good because I value our friendship. And do you create space where they can feel safe to be themselves, not not have to put on for you, because this is a place, a safe place where I have no judgment. And even if you're judging me, you can be honest to say, well, I don't agree with you on that. And the friendship still be okay. Or some of the things, do you break the trust in a friendship by sharing the private conversations or the personal information without permission? Because just because that is your friend and you have access to everything about their life or most things about their life, it doesn't give you the permission to tell their business, and even or to tell it first, or even to expound. And you know how people do you, because they'll know that you have a friendship with someone and they'll bait you for information about them. And this is one that a lot of times we have to be very careful, because they know just enough to make you think that they know about the situation, and then you give more information than you should have. And a lot of us can get caught up in that one. Or do you talk negatively about your friend behind their back? And you got to make sure that if you're going to be a good friend and you really value that relationship and you want to stay friends, this is a rule that we have to not break this girlfriend code. And by talking negatively about our friend, I don't care how mad you get with your friend, but don't talk about them behind their back. Talk to them. Or do we lie even about small things, which builds doubt over time? And so do we lie in that friendship? Also, being present only when you need something. But when you don't need anything, you get missing. Nobody can find you. You ain't answering phones because you don't need anything. But the minute you need something, you burning up somebody's phone 4 and 5 times and leaving 10 messages. But the person you have not been present. And remember, not every friendship you have to talk every day. There are some, remember we talked about the type of friendships where you don't talk every day, but you are still, they know, somehow you know that your friend is still present. And are you dismissing their feelings or making them feel unheard by saying, oh, don't feel like that, oh, you'll be all right? It's easy to do that because a lot of times we're trying to make the person feel better, but the person, a lot of times our friends really are dealing with something and they're really trying to tell you that they're not handling well. And then, are you breaking promises or not following through? And this is repeatedly. All of us from time to time have to break a promise. Maybe we promised to go somewhere, or maybe we promised to do something and we're not able to fulfill that promise. But are you doing this all the time? Are you always constantly breaking off engagements, relationships, things, breaking off engagements, breaking off things that plans that you all had to do, and you're breaking off those plans? So those are some of the things that we can look at when we look at our friendships this week, and we want to become a real good friend, because in order to be a good friend, we got to show ourselves friendly. And in this week's Becomers newsletter, which also follows this podcast and this particular episode, I will continue this conversation, and I'll be talking about the signs that test the boundaries of the relationship. But I want to leave this with you today. You do not need many friends, but the friends you do have need to feel safe and feel like they're in a safe place for you and for them to breathe. And your friendships need to be ones that align with you. Because when you become a better friend, you will naturally attract better friendship relationships to your life, believe it or not. Now, let's talk about what to do next. Here are some of the ways to become a real friend and build real friendship relationships. First, as we said, learn how to listen the right way. This week, I need us to practice this simple step with our friends. Let's pause before we respond. Let's our friends finish talking. Let's repeat back one thing they said so that they feel heard. And that's important about that, letting people finish talking, because a lot of times we will try to overtalk one another. And so it's very important. At times, we get excited, and that's okay. But there comes moments where you'll feel that your friend really need to have a moment or a space to really talk. And so it's important to allow them to have that moment. And then second, become consistent and not just available. Anybody can show up when it is easy. But when you're building a real relationship, you show up over the span of someone's lifetime. And that's that long-term friend. And so we want to pick one simple action, which is check in with one friend this week. Send them a message that says, I thought about you today. And why? Because consistency is going to help to strengthen your connection. Because even when you can't speak to each other, maybe there come a period where you can't. But now, because we have modern technology, we can actually send people messages even when we can't speak to them, and it'll show consistency and bring connection. And that's one I probably need to work on as far as my friendship relationships. And then third, let's protect what is shared with us. Because trust is built in private. And if someone tells you something personal, keep it there. Even if it seems small to you, or if it seems like juicy gossip, do not repeat it. Do not joke about it. Do not share it. For this is how you make people feel safe with you. And especially if you're one that you feel like your friends, I don't have any friends. Check and see if some of these things are things that you do when you come into a relationship with someone that you want to become friends with. These are some of the things that you're doing. And fourth, ask for mutual support. This is where many women struggle. You give, but never ask for help, or you never have an ask of your friend. And this week, say what you do need to your friend. It can be something simple. I need someone to talk to, or I need support with this. Healthy friendships will go both ways. All right, now let me bring it back to you. I want to talk about our becoming goals that we have, and I'm hoping that you have already started the process. My becoming goal for this week is I am going to become a better friend who supports, listens, and builds safe connections. So I'm going to connect and check in with one of my friends this week. Now, this is your weekly check-in as well. Where are you right now with your friendship goals, or with any goal that you're having? If it is becoming a friend, are you showing up the way that you want to? Are you allowing people to show up for you as well? But whatever your becoming goal is, if you stay consistent this week, I want to say to you that I am proud of you. And if you've been following through, if you've been checking in, if you've been listening more, if you completed a step towards your goals, that really matters, because that means that you are really, really becoming. And so I want us to stay with it. But for those of you who have not started yet, really becoming aware of what it is that you are trying to become, This is your moment. What becoming goal are you willing to start this week? I don't want you to overthink it. I want you to start with one action, one goal, and one step. Because small steps create real change, and real change is what you're looking for, then you need to start your becoming process today. And now I want you to take further action today, or you can do it this week. If you have friends that you want to continue to build those relationships with, I want you to reach out to one friend today, listen better today, and be consistent this week. And then I want you to watch to see what really changes. And then I want you to leave me a comment to let me know what you are becoming and what your goals are that you are working on. Now, you can reach me on substack.com and you can message me there. And I really, really, really want to hear from you to know what your becoming goals are. Don't be afraid. You can step out and make that step. And make sure that you subscribe to, this is the Motivate Moment by Momafeyht on the substack.com. And that's where I'm saying that you can really message me, and that's where you can contact me so that you do not miss a single episode of the Becoming Me podcast. And each episode will be sent to your inbox, especially when you become a paid subscriber. And then I also would like for you to subscribe for free to the Becomers newsletter. And the reason why is because a lot of things that I would love to talk about on the podcast, I cannot bring all of it. So I put those into that newsletter. And so this week I'm going to talk about the signs that test the boundaries of a friendship relationship, and I'll have a few more things in there. And I'm also going to have in there is a friendship packet that I'm going to leave the link in the newsletter. And it is some stuff that I had talked about previously on one of my other podcasts. And I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to put some friendship affirmations that you can use, and I'll add some other things in that particular packet. And it's just going to be called the friendship packet. So I would like to give that to you. That's going to be absolutely free. And a lot of times the things, when I have the link, those things are usually going to be on my website, which is MOMAFEY-HT, which is spelled MOMAFEYHT at ht.com. And so you can go there, and a lot of the things are there. And also what's there is what I've been talking about each week is the Momafeyht Goalsetting Journal. And this week, when I'm starting something new, I filled out a completed page for becoming a friend. And so you can check that out. That'll be in the friendship packet. I will leave a completed one, and it starts you off with a goal as becoming a friend. And hopefully moving forward, when I do each week, I'll complete one of the journal page so you can see how to really do goal setting, and if that's one of the goals that you have, you can download that particular sheet and then add to it. And also, as always, I also want you to follow me at MOMAFEY-HT. I'm on most social media platforms so that you can stay connected. Now get ready for what's coming next. Next week, we're going to be talking about becoming a family, whether it is a traditional family or a blended family or extended family. And we're going to get into some real interesting stuff about this family, because I'm finding out that families are having a hard time connecting and staying together. And so we're going to have a conversation about that. So And I want to also encourage everyone to listen. I've started the MOMAFEY Conversations Live. It's on Thursdays, and I want you to look out for it. I'm currently on YouTube, Substack, and Facebook, and a lot of times the recap is on those particular platforms as well. So if you're not able to listen live, you will be able to hear it. And I'm also streaming that out to the Apple and Spotify and all of those with podbean.com. And you can go to podbean.com and pick which one you want to listen to, and you can listen to it from there, or you can go to Apple, iHeart, Spotify, and YouTube, and you can listen to it on all of those different platforms. All right. So thank you for listening today. That is all for now, and I will see you next time.